As far as injuries, Charles Woods did not participate. Rob Havenstein did not participate. And then, I had a couple guys that were limited. But, as far as Rob's concerned, he's making good progress. We'll see how the week kind of continues to progress. And Charles Woods, same thing with his ankle.
How did KT Leviston look first action in a while?
Today was, so I would say this. He's looked good. We just decided to be able to start his clock. Obviously, with Jaron getting an opportunity to go back to Cleveland. And so he's been a guy that we were excited about. Ended up getting injured, and and now we'll get a chance to see him on the practice field, so that'll be good.
What are the challenges of stopping?
Where do you want me to start? I think the biggest thing is just the momentum, the techniques, the fundamentals. Everybody tries to run it, but they do it at a little bit different clip. And you hear people talk about Jeff Stoutland, is a guy that one of the great coaches in this league. There's an understanding of leverage angles, get off, a rapport that's been established, and they've been doing it for a long time. And then obviously Jalen has a great feel for being able to kind of ride that wave, if you will. So there's a lot of challenges.
Vic Fangio has talked a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit about how he took the year, some time and studied and tried to implement maybe some new things into what he's doing now. You are very familiar with this defense at this point in your career, so is there anything when you watch the Eagles that looks different to you, how he's deploying certain personnel, or does it look like sort of the vintage that you've seen from him?
I think it's situationally dependent. I think the biggest thing that I would say that makes Vic a great coach is he's going to adjust and adapt and figure out what is going to be best given the circumstances. There's still a foundational philosophy. There's a way of making people play and an understanding of how to try to limit what people are trying to get done, and the illusion of what it really looks like, and that is on display. I think they've really done an excellent job. They've obviously played great football as a team the last 6 weeks, but you can see guys are comfortable. He's working with a lot of some rookies that are playing really well. Some younger players, and they're one of the best defenses in the league, and by a lot of metrics, they're arguably the best. And so I think the thing that you appreciate is just the evolution and the adaptability. And so the answer is yes, there's some different stuff, but also you see a willingness to adjust to what fits for that team. And you could see, he's got a big picture head coaching perspective from it, not exclusively just through a defensive lens. And I think that's one of the things that I admire and respect the most about this team is they play as a team instead of separate entities, offense, defense, and teams.
How have you seen their offense evolve with Saquon now in the mix?
Yeah, he's been outstanding, and I think they've embraced him. He's a huge energy spark plug for them. He's explosive. He's getting tough, harder in yards. If you give him a vertical seam, he's so explosive that before you know it, it's a downhill inside zone run, and he's 60 yards out the gate. And so he's been really productive in the pass game, and I think that he fits really well with what they're trying to do. And he fits in any scheme. But he's playing great. Looks great. They're doing a great job of giving him a variety of opportunities, and he's surrounded by a bunch of really good players. And I think, similar to what Jordan was asking about, their defense, they've hit their stride, and it's no mistake why they've won, 6 games in a row, and they're finding their identity. And certainly Saquon is in the middle of a lot of really good stuff that they're doing.
In preparing for that push play, is there anything you guys can do other than your regular goal line type defense, or is there a different kind of?
Yeah, you need to be able to cover those gaps, and that situation arises in short yardage and in the tight red area. So hopefully you're efficient enough that you don't get to too many of those situations where it's a big advantage for them, and they've created that advantage. And so there's a lot of different things. I don't want to get too far into it. And the hard thing too is once you get to this point in the year to simulate what that would actually be like in some of those rugby scrum type of settings, that's difficult, and it's why they are one of one. A lot of people try to emulate that, but they're the ones that have done it at such a high level, and it's been really difficult for people to stop.
You saw them last year. You have experience pretty close with everything they've got. A lot of the players have been taking. What are your memories from that game? You had some success in the second half, kept them out of the end zone, but in general, what do you remember?
I just remember that they do a great job of controlling the game. Before you know it, you're up 14-10, and then the next thing you know, they take a 2-minute drive right down the field. They score right before the end of the half. And even though, it was a great job by Akello getting the turnover, but it felt like they never really relinquished control of the game. Jalen made some unbelievable plays, off schedule, being able to create with his legs. And, And then they've got great skill players. They were able to make us pay in some different coverage contours and some different matchups. And then offensively, we weren't able to capitalize on some opportunities, and the possessions were limited. I mean, they shortened the game, and that's been a consistent theme that they do an excellent job of. And so, I remember feeling like that's a damn good team, and we had our chances, but they certainly, made it difficult for us, and they earned that win.
They invested a lot in their secondary, not just from a personnel standpoint in the draft, but also coaching and all of that.
Yep.
Just from your perspective, you guys have really developed a couple of exciting young players in the defensive backfield as well. So what maybe don't we know on the outside about what a task that is, getting really young players like that up to speed in what kind of complex system?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think it takes, first of all, obviously it's about the player first and foremost. Do they have the capacity, the understanding, the abilities to then be able to translate it into all the different things that they're seeing and the adjustments that need to be made within the different coverages that you're asking guys to play? And so I think that's a tremendous reflection on the players, number one, but then the ability to teach it. You look at Christian Parker, you look at Vic Fangio, those guys have been doing it for a really long time in terms of helping players reach and realize their highest potential, especially as it relates to the back end. No different than us with guys like Aubrey and Chris Beek and Mike Harris, being able to help some of our players get up to speed or get reacclimated or watch them continue to grow. And that's been illustrated from the corner and the safety position for us, and the same thing for them. But it's it's a really sound defense that takes smart players, and then obviously they've got some guys that have great concept trigger, great natural abilities as is, but there's an understanding. I think you really see them play 7 as 1. They understand what are the different things that teams are trying to do to attack different coverages, and then a lot of times they're playing a certain coverage and you don't know what coverage it is unless certain routes distribute accordingly, and they have tools that they can activate, and it's why they're really good, and it's why the system that really foundationally was started with Coach Fangio has been tried to be emulated and replicated for a handful of years.
One more, guys.
All right. You scared them off, artists. All right. Thanks, guys.